So I was, my teeth are hurting really bad, gums. I don't know what they're doing or shooting at my teeth, or the gums of the nerves that are doing this, or they put some poison in the food that's causing this. But I wanted to talk about some other things that I was thinking of, and I was thinking, two things. One is my mother when we went to SeaWorld and how my mother was behaving. And I want to say this is what I remember, but the thing that bothers me about this so much is I think the emotions of the trauma linger and are imprinted to how I'm supposed to behave more than my mind can remember the actual pictures. So if I understand this emotion and this imprint that I'm getting from my mother and father, I'll behave with that, remember of what that connection was, and it wasn't very good, and then it causes me later down the road to continue behaving the way that I do, and people misinterpret because I'm not able to verify the picture that I saw. And I remember my mother, I want to say, was very withdrawing from my dad, and we were feeding the fish to the dolphins, and she was very withdrawn, like don't make me kiss you, or don't make this look like we're still together. And it was when he was sitting on a bench and Lupe was to his right and my mom was to his left, and Lupe was looking over at my mother like, I don't think he understands, because I was looking at my dad, and this is how I knew how my dad behaved when we also got there. He was a little more aggressive than he naturally is, and he was very stubborn to, I still got it, I still have it, and he doesn't. And the way that he reaffirmed his manhood was to kiss my mother in public, and to reaffirm, like, yeah, I'm still the guy, and yeah, I still have it, and it was kind of crazy, but that was what he did. And I remember my mother, I want to say, this is what I do remember. I go to ask for some more money because I got it's $3 or $1 a fish or something like that. I go over to my father, or I go to my mother, and I say, hey Mom, can I have $3 more? Because I want to, throw some, because you can kind of hold the fish and wait for a dolphin hopefully to come by and snatch it. And I approached, and I was by myself, and there's a lot of people all around this circle, and there's pretty open space in the area, and my mother is completely, I'm looking at it, and she's like looking at him like, I am here because I have to, and I have a car, but I'm very withdrawn about that guy. And I was like, and I remember thinking to myself, I was like, my dad was old and I cared for him and my mother, but it was confusing to me. But I knew my father was old. And Lupe was asking, hey, ¿necesitas ir al baño? You need to go to the bathroom? And not, taunting him to see. It was kind of like, I think she came along to babysit him a little bit. Lupe never was around, and she got more credit than she did, and so did Kathy. But it's so lost. I do remember that, and it's all lost. It's all a lost cause. It's a humility of having to fuck a faggot or a gay guy. Because you need a car and you need to feed your kids, and this is all about Sarah Madison and Ken Cooper for the white race, and the picket-fested motherfuckers are never going to pay for it, because the other motherfuckers that did this shit, you'll never hear about it, but they just knew, because I didn't know anything that was going on. And you want to say that this is not about race? No, this is about fucking race. This is what this is. And Kenneth is 100%, it's so frustrating because, it's my immediate family and my experiences that get shot and killed, not his. and not and it's the calculation is what's so frightening about it, because this parasitical motherfucker, there's more details that people don't even know about, like his impersonator and this person that showed up to back him up showed up trying to visit Robert Zarate before he was killed in a car wreck, and he showed up to the funeral, and he was exactly behaving like Kenneth, and he lived in a house. Daniel Box was with us with a bunch of blacks, and I think this is where Selena ended up getting with a bunch of black guys. But she never showed up. I really didn't ever see her, but only like the first few years, and I think I might have seen her once when I was there. But I didn't see her for I saw her just for like the first 2 years. But not that I have anything bad, but that tells you nobody knows these stories. You know, my best friend, my brother and me gets killed in a car wreck with Edward, and Kenneth is bringing up fake car wrecks, and oh yeah, I bet who he is, and all this, and he's not bringing up Robert's name. He's talking about somebody else, and it's, his impersonator was already, his platoon has already went and penetrated Robert Zarate's family immediately. So, and I remember when we're getting in the car with Daniel Box, and Robert was in the back seat, and he goes, "Hey, Hector, do you have anybody that's in the music industry in your family?" And I think Robert knew or overheard that Kenneth was at a radio station. I don't know how much of this fame, I don't know what's going on, but I remember him telling me, "Hey, you got any family members, anybody that's in the music since you're DJing?" And I don't know anybody at all. So then I remember Daniel smirking, and I don't know, he might have known something, but I think it's important for me to talk about because, there's, to me, the frightening of the calculation is more frightening of, how cynical, how dark this is, the darkness of the behavior that you don't give a fuck about human life. You really don't give a shit. To do something like that as a human being and as an individual. Just because you had it worse in life doesn't mean you go kill somebody. It's literally scraping dead corpses. You have a transgender gay community that defends his parasitical motherfucker. Him and David, and it's so fucked up because the homosexuals and the transgenders are so powerful. They run every fucking thing in the fucking world. So barbaric that this is why murders and shit happen, to those faggots and transgenders, because those motherfuckers are so powerful, the police department and the faggots and the detectives, because they're so hidden in the closet. They live their entire lives like that. To violate that boundary is to skin a child alive and then run around with salt all over its body. That's the equivalent to those fucking faggots. Like, there's something's wrong with them. They live like that for so long, and they're so ashamed, or there's something so internally deep that when you violate that, it's just like, skinning a baby alive for no fucking reason. It's fucking, but, you can't do, they're so surrendering because it's coming from the highest level of power. The psychologists and all this other shit, those faggots were participating in this shit, and you're not here to work for me. You're not here to do nothing. You did this for your faggot. You did this for Michael Jackson. And they knew they could cover it up. They knew they're going to make the excuses, but their faggot goes up on stage. Oh, okay, well, at least I killed your kids, and then I take off. I don't care, because there's plenty of people that don't want to be a part of that entertainment business. There's plenty of people that feel very comfortable staying in an apartment like this for the rest of their lives, like me, are able to go out and do this, work in a warehouse or do my hours in. I don't give a shit. But since I'm so trapped, and I don't feel like I have no choice. But there's people that live like that, but they're very evil, dark, and intended to do the killings first, and then they go back to their hibernation cave. And to them, it's not a career, it's not a work effort. It's not. They know they have no reason to make a lot of money in that, even if it was was offered to them. You know, and it's better to just throw your poison and take off and see what the drama shows on TV and be like, oh look, I'm connected to some of this fame in TV, and oh, this is really cool. I'm on national television. You know, 400 million people watching me on TV. You know, like to them, it's just they don't give a shit. You know, but you know, it's fucked up. You know, and it's just really fucked up because I used to hear my dad a few times. He used to say, "You too, Frankie. I'm proud of you, son. I'm proud of you." But he really didn't say that too many times to Frankie. Even though he did, he was a frequent person that would say that, and you know, from Frankie's position, it kind of been very confusing at times too, because like when he got raped at that bar and we left, my dad like got us out of there very quickly, and we left and said, oh, "Come on, let's go." And we got into the car, and my dad was walking ahead of us, and this tall guy that looked like Ken Cooper, heavy set, ready to fight, and then the white boy that was real short, blonde hair and blue eyes, looking crazy, like he knew he already fucked Frankie, and he was like, "You know better than to do that. This is white power. You know, you're gay. You're not supposed to do that to boy. I'll let you get away. I'll show you what a man is. I'll give you the man look." And that was it. We leave, we get into the car. I say, "Frankie, what's that smell?" And I remember my dad was leaning over sort of the steering wheel, and he was just kind of like staying still and kind of like, "You just gotta keep going, just come on, we gotta get out of here and keep going." Because by this time, my dad has already fought and done so much, and he knows that his own people, a bunch of faggots, child rapists, are doing this to Frankie. How many times are you going to have this one happen and you're not going to live? You know, you're going to get killed in prison. You're just going to die. It's so fucked up because the police officers and Ken Cooper, they knew they could get away with it. My dad was scared of Ken and Sarah using the police. Nobody wants to believe me saying that they showed up to this pool whenever I was a fucking kid, and my dad was like, "Hey, behave. Because Ken and Sarah, they were walking right by each other, like one in front of the other, like they were patrolling, looked directly at my fucking dad at a fucking pool and weren't even dressed. And my dad was getting his exercise he always get when I used to walk with him. He used to walk back and forth and just walk like this inside the pool, get his exercise after his heart attack to help get his blood circulating. And I remember him doing that. I used to go with him and get his regular exercise. And, you know, I was going with him all the time. And I saw this shit, and there's no way to fucking prove it. You know, this is what these pig motherfuckers did. And nobody, but it comes from the highest level of power who didn't want to do the shooting. These motherfuckers are faggots, and they don't give a shit. And it's hard because I understand that. But I understand I'm going to fucking die one day too. And I'm not getting anything at a fraction of it. These people aren't listening. They want to make their money fucking valuable. And make their fucking country what they want this to be about. And help them goddamn selves. I don't want any of their goddamn reward bullshit. You know, goddamn putting a ribbon around my goddamn neck, motherfucker. Like, you know goddamn well. And those are people that you don't argue with. The president and all the Secret Service and those motherfuckers, those people you do not fucking argue with. They get everything they want because they're like a little baby. You put a fucking pacifier in their fucking mouth. Otherwise, they're going to keep crying. And their crime is the way that they start killing people, the way George Bush sends people to death row and signs off on it, and fuck you. You know? These are real life Nazis. These are atomic bomb murderers. These are people that think they're fucking normal. They're not. You know, and they know how to do the shooting. They know what was going on. This is running their own country and their own, shenanigan bullshit. This is not, you think this is love and care, bullshit. You don't understand how worthless you are to these fucking goddamn people and how many things they have to deal with. You give them more credit than you're supposed to because you're trained to believe to think that fucking bullshit is. And it to me it sucks. That You know, that something like this went on for so long and they still get rewarded, and it doesn't change the fact, you know, do your killings and go work for, you know, a bullshit job, and then donate me $300 an extra month for some bullshit, you know, and but as far as that goes, I'm more worried about, not more worried about, but you know, I saw Julian's identical, not identical twin, but Julian's sister. I saw Julian's sister over at China Buffet or some shit when I went with my uncle like 4 years ago when I talked to Casey at Red Roof. You know, and I was like in Dallas, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And I was like 37, 36. I was like 36. Yeah, I was like 36 years old. About 5 years ago. And it's crazy because I saw this, and this person looked like they wanted to fight. I wanted to skin this motherfucker. I'm like, you fucking piece of shit. You think you're just going to show up and look like Julian, you motherfucker. And this is a transgender. And I don't know if, I think, for sure this person was related to Julian. It was a transgender that's related to Julian. And Julian and his twin. But I don't know if they're from the U.S. or they're from Mexico. So they could look like they were from Mexico. They didn't look like they were necessarily born in the U.S. Just by the vibe and looks of them. And it could have been Julian's identical sister, well, I mean his biological sister that was in Mexico, they discovered as well. And this person was 100% vengeful at him. He's a nasty, fucking ugly looking motherfucker. But I thought I would say something about this situation because you know, to have all this that goes on, and my mother's twins, her triplets or twins that are if they're lesbians, fucking faggot, lesbian, transgender piece of shit motherfuckers. That's exactly 100% why. And they knew they could poison my mother. That's why. And there's faggots and transgenders that did this shit. And I don't give a shit because I know Lindsay already said something about this. And she's, oh yeah, but I don't know, fuck you. And that's exactly how they wanted to get it, because this is faggot. It's you have the lesbians and the transgender motherfuckers that are showing up, and they're so vengeful and they're so betraying, disgusting motherfuckers. When it comes to a particular situation like this, especially in a particular situation like this, I don't give a fuck who the fuck you're an identical twin doesn't grant you my dad's dead corpse and his fucking money and my fucking mother, motherfucker. Like, you just come and rob this goddamn shit and you use this psychology shit. It's very violating. My dad would have never approved it or liked it. And, it's a very frustrating situation because that's exactly how the faggots would have been able to control my mother. My mother's not interested in having sex with other women. My mother used to tell me shit about faggots and like, oh, we're gay, we're gay and all this other shit. And I could have sworn to you this happened to me once. Miguel and Diana could probably tell you this. My mom tried hitting on Miguel. I swear to you, I was a little kid. And I remember Miguel walking by and looking at my mother like, and nodding his head going, doing this. And my mom was hitting on Miguel. That tells you how fucked up this shit is. You see now why? Because my mom didn't tell me until years later. She goes, no, your cousin is gay. But my mom didn't recognize that this guy was gay. She not in the beginning. And this is whenever Miguel started cut himself a flat top, and I decided to get a flat top too because he looked kind of familiar with the military build, kind of flat top. So, and I used to see the cartoons all the time, and I was like, oh wow, I'm gonna get me a flat top too. And by that time, he already had raped Frankie. So I would have put a lot of pressure. You would have saw the kid and like, oh, why do you get a flat top like you did? Oh, and then my dad got a flat top too, and he was forced to get a flat top. They shaved his head. It was Bill that did it because they, But anyway, in this particular situation that I talk about is, it's. I know that's going to be a lot of the inspiration where it's going to come from. At least I believe where I'm going to feel settled in the sense of like, whether it was good or bad. I don't believe it very strongly it's bad. That the suffering that Frankie went through, if he was able to overcome it, then it would give me the motivation that I can't as well. Because he went through such a harsh situation. And when my dad died, we were in the kitchen. I talked about this before. Me, Frankie, and Jillian. I was sitting by the cabinet. Jillian was over by the washer, and Frankie was leaning up against the sink. And this is where Frankie told me, "Yeah, you can go ahead and keep the money." And I just happened to say to him because I knew Mickey was his best friend, or we were all good friends. Me and Mickey and Frankie were. Frankie was closer to Mickey, just a little bit. And I said, "Oh, hey, since Frankie was back from the day, I go, hey, Frankie, have you talked to Mickey? Have you heard from him?" He goes, "Oh yeah, no, I talked to him." And he said it in a way that was like, I don't know if he went. I don't know if he said he went and talked to Miguel and that he had a conversation with Miguel, like forgave him. I don't think he did. He might have. Anyway, so, and it makes me think too, if that Dodge Intrepid was bought for my mother, then why did they give the Dodge Intrepid, a brand new car, over to Mickey? Because Mickey was 17 years old, 16 years old when he got that car, and they paid like $6,000 for it. And they got a really good deal for it. Because I remember him telling me how much they paid for it, and that he told me he got a really good deal for it. And it was like a 95, I think, Dodge Intrepid. It wasn't a 97 like ours, but it was a 95 or 94. But it was almost identical, same shape, color, red. And it was parked out there. Like, who's buying you a car? How do you get in this fucking car? Like, if they bought my mother a car, how the fuck is everyone getting free cars and shit? So, anyway, it is a little too late, far way too late. But as far as that goes, that'd be a huge motivation for me, knowing that, if he was able to overcome it, I definitely would show a resemblance of strength for me. That's an overcoming of challenge that I think it's bigger than me, for sure, because I saw it, and I was there the whole time. So, and if he's in a wheelchair and all this, well, more glory to Kenneth and the radio station, and Madison and President Barack Obama and the faggot and the niggas. It ain't gonna change anything. Nothing is ever gonna change with that. But, they knew how to pull the trigger. They knew. They just shot me in my back. Ain't nothing gonna change it. They knew how to pull that gun and shoot the fucking motherfuckers. They knew how to fire their ass and make them suffer. Put them in a room by themselves and throw a rope. They knew how to do it. They did it to me. So that was just a favoritism, white supremacist. That was just, such a filthy pig and cover up of what these motherfuckers were doing. And they're going to keep making excuses. The people that were all involved supporting these motherfuckers, because that's who did it. They didn't do this alone. It was other people. That's how the congruent of corporate politics fucking works, and favoritism. But you know, the understanding that they're extremely intelligent and Americanized and very mentally understanding of what the fuck they're doing. That's what's calculating, frightening about it. So anyway, that's that, you know, and that's a really tough situation because, you know, these lesbians, if there's a fucking lesbian bitch, you know, died, I don't give a fuck, you know, like I have to be, you know, these psychologists and all these motherfuckers are doing this goddamn shit, you know, because they want to. They want to make it for the faggots, and that's how they were gonna, because Kenneth would have known this bitch is a lesbian, and, you know, and then they get her to feel sorry, and she keeps harassing me. My mother's twin keeps harassing me and calling me over the phone repeatedly, harassing the shit out of me, saying real guttering shit because she's trying to cover up. They're using my mother to help Ken Cooper out and Sarah for my mother's raping, and for the dead little girl, so that she can intervene in scooping up the dead little girl and my dad's dead body. And that's why she took me over to the cemetery and taunted me in front of my dad's casket. Because this bitch wasn't there, and it's very violating, extremely violating, that somebody's even willing to do that. It tells you how stupid you really are. And I don't care if you're an identical twin. You know, you understand well enough you shouldn't be doing that. But the psychologists have the money and do all this other shit, and they have it go their faggot way, and racist way. And they had all their other people do this to me. But there's nothing that can be done about it. So if Frankie's in a wheelchair, you know, retarded, you know, it ain't going to change anything. It's still going to be their profitable game. But I think that will be something that I would look to see the reality of what human life would be on my personal note, how traumatized that would be to me. If he's perfectly fine and he's just, you know, overcame these challenges, it's definitely much more bigger than me. Either way, it's going to be bigger than me, and you know, it always will be. So, you know. Yeah, I didn't want it to be like this, and I felt like I knew could have prevented it, and they didn't. And that's what the intentions was, to cover up their homosexuality for the president and these faggots, because the trauma that you're doing to me by sending these Sarah Cooper stalking me, and then their impersonations and their identities coming all around me, that is very much burning hell, and all the situation of the hell that I'm already in. It's like demons just, you know, laughing and sticking their pitchfork, you know, watching my brother fucking get fucked in his ass again to feel sorry for this bitch that, and his goddamn family. You know, you got plenty of money, go fuck yourself with your money, you know. And it's very difficult because I know I'm extremely smart and very smart and intelligent to understand what these motherfuckers did and what they did with my mother's twin. You know, those are all my hard-working earnings, and for me to be not able to say nothing for 20 fucking years and get raped and did all this other shit, and this motherfucking total stranger shows up and just takes every goddamn fucking thing and make anybody go fucking angry, and they just want to clean up their goddamn shit because it's too late. And the president, the fucking pigs that live in there, them motherfuckers, all they ever do, they get everything they want in life. When it comes to using me and my immediate family as chess pieces, they get anything they fucking want. That's what pigs fucking do. They love eating shit. And they don't give a fuck. They think when they die, they're the fucking bacon you smell at a fucking morning when they fucking die because they were president. They have conspiracy, Illuminati, crazy ass shit. You know, transgenders and faggots are already in the White House, and there's nothing that can be done about that. But one thing is that I can say, you know, I feel very confident to say, is that this is, you know, a loss. This is the defeat too great of me. A defeat too great of me. The defeat is just too overwhelming. Too overwhelming that it's just too overwhelming. Like, they didn't just, the flies are eating the dead corpse and decomposing, and maggots are covering. If you didn't just discover some of the body, no, the maggots ate the entire fucking human flesh of the body before you could discover and give it a proper burial. It was just, it wasn't even fucking, people were shitting and pissing on the fucking bones. Dogs were fucking playing with the fucking bones that were in the fucking, for toys. It's such a defeat that it's so overwhelming because the people don't want to do anything. They didn't want to do anything. It was all selfish, greed, pieces of shit, Like, they didn't want to get a fucking job. They wanted to go and steal. Then justify it because then Al-Qaeda was getting jobs in the U.S. and all this other bullshit. All the bad things we don't know, bullshit. Pay with your life, and then you're going to think something else. Pay with your couple of kids and your family, and then you're going to think something else different then. Because then you're going to die too. And you don't go to no fucking normal. And it's, they want to pay for the consequences of their own actions for any kind of fucking reason. And, it is too late, and it's a defeat. That's something that's embedded inside of me. It's just a defeat. That's just because they're always going to come up with this understanding of psychology of fuck you, I fucking win. It's supreme. A supreme fucking finish. And that's it. And as far as my biological father goes, you know what I think happened? I think when he broke up with that blonde girl, that Barbie-looking girl, I think she had a kid with a black guy, or got with a black guy. I think that's what happened. Now, if he got Michaela pregnant and he broke up with her, because he obviously didn't stay with her forever, why did they separate? And when they separated, who got into the other picture? Who got into that relationship? Because remember Michael Jackson? I bet you if some black guy got on and fucked that white woman, that blonde haired woman, Michaela's mother, god damn, you motherfucker. Because they would have ditched out my biological father like he was a piece of shit. Because what I think happened, I think that's what happened, and I'm even more sure of this. My biological father, he found another younger girl, younger woman, and he had another kid. I got another younger little sister, like a little baby girl sister. I don't think she's a little kid anymore. I don't know how old she is, but he got his girlfriend pregnant, and she's much more younger. One of the things that also leads me to believe this is because when Julian was working at the strip club when I was 27 years old, Julian was really pissed off and saying about there was a guy there that was a manager and got a 19 or 18-year-old girl pregnant, and he was 43 years old. And my friend Julian was all pissed off saying, "Yeah, you know what this motherfucker did? He got this 18-year-old girl fucking pregnant." And he's fucking the manager. He's just because he's manager, and he was like 42, 43 years old. He got some 18-year-old girl pregnant. And so, anyway, that's what I think happened. I think he got with another Mexican girl, got her pregnant, found her, and that's what my biological father is. He became another father to another little girl with some other woman. That's what I think happened, but I think that it's very possible, very highly likely, 100%. He was either a faggot and immediately tried to hook up with Michaela's mother, or a black guy. And the reason that is they're going to justify it. Obviously, everything is an excuse later because it's all politics, and you start pointing the finger and start okay, go over there. Okay, now sell this one over here, and they do it, and then all these actions are happening and affecting the outcome of any connections of things that life could have been more suitable to work for me and work for the inner circle instead of for Kenneth and Ken Cooper and the faggots. And it's never going to change that the time is lost. Never going to change the fact that they went after me like that. But like I said, you can't start a relationship with a sister when I'm 41 years old. I don't know what this person's life is like. It takes a long time to build a relationship, a sibling relationship. And that sibling relationship isn't developed, the youth was never developed with her at all. And so with any love that's giving, it's the same love, it's somewhat like if a total stranger did it, but some attachment, extra attachments to it. But there was no growing, meeting new girls, her friends, and being around them, and being that young and interesting of what it's like to be around those types of people. Nothing like that. So being old, HIV positive, a cancer patient, raped by a transgender, it's very difficult to reestablish a healthy. It's a wired sort of. It's going to be very wired and bullshit, this relationship, and that's exactly what Kenneth wanted. That's exactly what this faggot Ken Cooper and Sarah Cooper wanted. It's what the white supremacists, these motherfuckers wanted. You know, because as long as my mother has brains for a bag of rocks, is always stupid and is always dumb, then what happens is that then everyone else says, oh, we're just giving love to her and we're just smarter to tell her what to do. Yeah, and that's what you did, you motherfuckers. It's just I paid the fucking price for it. And so did Frankie and my mother did. And then you just give the bitch the fucking money. And that's exactly what they fucking did. And they used the twin to penetrate the faggot bullshit into this. So, the time's gone. That's for sure. And don't know how much time is left. As far as I know, you know, I probably got a couple of years before I develop throat cancer and get throat lumps and shit, and I start talking out of my throat, you know, and start figuring out how I'm going to cover this hole in my fucking neck, and, you know, they'll do my little DJ bullshit, and crying on stage, you know, oh my God, big dream come true, motherfuckers. You know, a couple of years, and oh, you should have stopped smoking. Well, I don't give a shit. My life, I enjoy my life, and I don't get to enjoy it the way that I would have liked. It's one of the relaxing ways, and the torturing things nobody will ever know, and they don't give a goddamn fuck. Nobody does. You know, they're making excuses, and they're going to continue doing that. But I do know that you know, that's it. You know, for something like that to happen and people just start making excuses. You know, being in your mid-40s, you know, I'm not saying that life still can't be beautiful. It's not what I'm saying. That's the value of it, of what they do. They put the price tag on there when it could have been so much more. It could have been a trillion times more better. And they're going to keep making the excuses. They're going to keep talking it out, who's smarter than the other person. And the time's still running out. The time's still running out. And they wait for the vulnerable stupid enough to not understand that, and then that's just how it gets stapled with that understanding, and it was a lie the whole time. And yeah, you know, I have high hopes that Frankie somehow is perfectly fine, and you know, he's perfectly fine, and I don't believe that he is, but I have high hopes that he is, and that I can get sort of this inspiration, or not inspiration, but this sort of like it helps me move forward. But if he's in a tragic situation, this is for the faggots. This is for the transgenders. That's what it was for. That was for Kenneth and you could scum him even more if you want. That's what pig is. That's what they live like a pig, they'll die like a fucking pig. They don't give a fuck. The people that they sent in the waves of harm, they're gonna keep. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna deal with it even more. they're going to be even nastier. This one's even going to be more worse. It's never going to change. So, and they're going to split up how they're going to divide at the cross. So Frankie, being retarded or whatever, and then exchange it for the princess for nigga, and then transgender for President Barack Obama's daughter, and then his fucking bitch wife for the niggas, and for racism, right? Because that's where the racism only happens, and scoot some more for the whites, because this is the first black president, first black person to be in there. There's different reasons why the first one gets in there, but as far as I have anything to say, that it's a defeat in every itching corner of it. It comes at such a heavy price on me, and such a heavy price on Frankie and on my mother, that it goes to somebody else, and it's a very long, torturing process. It's work, pain, suffering and agony and lingering of, you're never going to get this sort of what you think you're going to get or what you really wanted. You're not. And you're not going to put a burn victim that's fucking hairless, all fucked up, and put them on stage and put them angel and say, "Oh, you're a Victoria's Secret angel. Look at you." Just look at you. It's just, you believe so much. You just, oh, fuck you, huh? And that's the reality of it. And they know what they were taking away. They just put you in your fucking own place, and then you're unfucking grateful. It's such a high price. Such a deep, very deep price. Very cheap. But I've thought I'd talk a video about this, kind of give ideas and vent. Because you just have too many fucking real bad people and suicides. You have too many fucking suicides. They just throw them. They just all the way down the rabbit hole. They just go down the rabbit hole. They don't give a shit. Down the rabbit hole into the coffins. They feel comfortable. They get told they're going to go to heaven, and they keep doing what they do until they die. And they die that way. They don't ever leave. They die that way, and they leave the taxes over to fucking the motherfuckers. They did this intentionally too. They knew what they were doing from the very beginning. They just wanted to feel comfortable as they were doing it. And they felt comfortable all the way till it was death time. And, it's a tough situation, but there's always open space for me to say I did not understand a lot of things. And what portion of that pie is smaller, in my understanding, than you think that really is. So don't think that it's really, but there is many facets to that I don't understand, that things that happen the way that they did, and that's why I build these spiritual boats, and this is why things that I cannot control. But for me, on a personal note, when it goes to spirituality, it's the worst demonic fucking evil shit you can imagine. And how they're abusing me in the psychology for so many years and what they took away. That's why it's going to feel good when I see Frankie, and be like, just give his retarded, ripped up ass to my mother's fucking twin and Barack Obama and his transgender feel good story. The fuck you ribbon. The Medal of Honor goddamn shit because Marine got his head shot open and burned alive, and then get him to fucking do it, you motherfucker. You just. Ken Cooper at the detective department, for Keno, and I feel sorry for this, and all these other fucking faggot motherfuckers, That's what you're doing, and that's what they're going to do. It was not a necessity. It was for the things that I don't understand, and the other chess pieces, and then there you go. They're shooting me right now on my fingers, on my nails. Is to understand that there is a part that I don't understand or the things, but they want to explode that to then gratify and cover up with what they're doing. That's why they're wanting to do it. So, but hopefully, I think I do know it'll do good. But, it's however little it is, it can be very big. It's one step in the right direction. But like I said, you deal with that kind of much money, and you see people just, where are some of these friends getting money? Like, what the fuck do you do for money? I have to work 10 hours a day at a job for $10 a fucking hour. How are you living rent free, motherfucker? Like, you just prostitute your fucking girl, get a bunch of kids, and then you want to get in the free house like you did my mother, motherfucker? Like, you've never had a full-time fucking job. How do you pay for all your fucking things? I'm not here to start this these. Ricky Box, I've never, ever in my entire life, ever heard of this individual ever having one job. He had one job, this guy named Joel, who I used to know. He drove an El Camino car, and he was real cool. I got along with him really great, real laid back, chewed tobacco. I was told he got with a stripper, and he used to come over to Daniel's old barbecues all the time. Real cool, laid back guy, real cool. But, he even used to tell me, he was like, man, I don't know about Ricky, man. He got him a job over at some mechanic place for 1 month, 3 weeks or something, got fired, and walked off the job. But, never had, many of them never had a full-time job. I've been working my entire life, homeless, chemotherapy, barely can walk up 3 flights of stairs, busting my ass. I did all my yard work, and trying to work out, build a life, going to nursing homes. These motherfuckers had it all the time. They could have stayed rent free, all these things, and they didn't give a shit. And they kept where are you getting all this money to spend $4,000 on drugs in a couple of months and buy 100 fucking records? How do you get this money? Where do you get all this money? I can barely afford an extra 12-pack, of beer, on a weekend. Like it's a ding in my wallet. Like, I can't afford anything else besides them giving me fucking tickets. If they didn't give me tickets, I still wouldn't have very much money at all. Like, and there's nothing that I'm gaining. I'm just maintaining. That's it. I don't gain. I maintain. I maintain a roof over my head, and I never have extra something for myself because my car's breaking down, insurance, like, even if I never got a ticket, that would be the case. But the fact that I got all these tickets, and I'm not trying to point the finger. I wasn't hateful toward it because I just, it's somebody else's life. I don't know how they live and where they get their money. But if that's how they live their life, then I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to judge it to say they're getting free rent and all this other shit. And I don't judge it. I don't. I just, believe that God, this is what God wanted me to do, and I did better. But, you got to think the reality, who's stupid and who's not. Life ends anyway. But, I see some of these pictures of you traveling. How do you get all this money? How do you have a full set of clothes inside your closet? How do you have 35 brand new T-shirts and 40 fucking pairs of jeans and 17 pairs of brand new shoes and getting a new pair of shoes? Or how the fuck, where do you get this money? Like, my dad was supposed to give me something, and then they stole the shit from me. Transplant and not suing a company and